Good morning. Good morning and welcome. I am Kathy Schmitz. I'm president of the League of Women Voters of Orange County, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our annual meeting. If you have been around for a minute, you will notice that we are trying something new. That is, we're having our annual meeting in the time slot we typically reserve for our monthly Hot Topics luncheons. It may look like Hot Topics, it may be in the same place and the same time, it may even taste like Hot Topics. But it is not Hot Topics, so please don't be surprised when a few things unfold a little differently than they do at Hot Topics. But never fear, Hot Topics will be back as usual next month. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here with us in person at the Winter Park Event Center, and I'd like to welcome those who are online, either via Facebook Live or afterwards via our recording that will be available on LWVOC YouTube channel and our Hot Topics page. Today, our recordings will include only the special guest speaker and the question and answer period that follows. The business portion will be streamed but not posted. And if you have a device of any kind on you, we would invite you at this moment to be sure that it is in a polite mode. Before we jump into our program, I would like to invite any elected officials who are with us to just stand where you are, if you are willing and able, and so that we can thank you for your service. Elected officials? Okay. I get it. Okay. We have one, and she's going to stand for a few minutes, so we'll let her off the hook. And so we will move right into things. If this will open. There we go. All right. It is my pleasure to introduce someone who embodies the values we hold dear here at the League of Women Voters: integrity, civic engagement, and an unwavering commitment to strengthening our democracy. Dr. Castor Dentel is not only Orange County's newly elected supervisor of election, she's also one of us. A proud League member who understands the power of informed participation and public trust. With more than 25 years of service as a public school teacher, state legislator, and school board member, Karen has spent her career making institutions more transparent, accessible, and accountable to the people they serve. In just her first 100 days, does it feel longer? In just her first 100 days as supervisor for election, she has stepped into a role that safeguards the very heart of our democracy, ensuring that everyone is counted and every vote is heard. Today, she joins us to share her reflections, her goals, and how she's working to bring democracy to life and into every aspect of our local elections. Please join me in welcoming our League sister and Orange County Supervisor of Election, Dr. Castor Dentel.
All right, good morning. Okay, let me see if I need my glasses. Yes, I do. All right, well, it is so good to be here. I'm grateful to be asked to present to you all today. I don't know if I would have been able to make the annual meeting otherwise. So, but I am, as Kathy mentioned, I'm a proud League member for over 20 years, and I've been a woman voter even longer. So, and I was thinking, do you remember the first time you voted, or who you voted for the first time you could vote for president? Okay, mine was in 1988. I was in college, so I voted by absentee ballot. And do you remember who was running in 1988? I didn't either. I had to go back and look it up because it was Bush versus Dukakis. Oh, so I actually got to meet Governor Dukakis at the time because he was considering including my mother, who was education commissioner at the time, as part of his administration. But we all know how that worked out.
So many of you know that I come from a household of public servants and civic leaders, and civics, I would say, was the glue that held that household together. And at the very core of our civic engagement was the League of Women Voters. I was telling Sue and Joan a quick story real quick, so this doesn't count as my time. I said, tell that. But my mother was president of the League in Hillsborough County in the 70s, and my stepmother was president of the League in Seminole County the same year. And we didn't know that until we saw a book with all the members' names in it. And they were listed. My mother was Mrs. Donald F. Castor, president of the League of Women Voters, and she was Mrs. Bill Adams, president of the League. And we laughed that even if the League didn't use their first names. And then later, my stepmother was Mrs. Donald F. Castor, so the name transfers. It's different people. But anyway, okay, back, here we go. So, but as a young girl, later a young woman, I attended many League events with my mother. That was kind of the core of her friend group. And I've lived through and advocated for some of the leagues and the country's biggest, most important election reforms. We have the National Voter Registration Act, also known as the Motor Voter Bill, and the 2002 Help America Vote Act, or HAVA. And the HAVA legislation, in case you don't remember, it guarantees provisional voting, improved access for voters with visual or hearing impairments, and it makes voting easier for individuals with physical disabilities. And I can tell you, I've seen these improvements firsthand. Every polling place in Orange County does have at least one voting machine that allows voters with disabilities to vote privately and independently. And in the coming weeks, our office will be doing a polling place survey of all of our polling places and their ADA compliance. And I know Dan Helm has already started that with some of our precincts. So yes, we've seen the 100 years of voting rights progress the League has fought for. And as I approach my 100th day in office, I want to give you a progress report of my time. So just 3 months and 2 days ago, I was sworn in, and I took the oath of office as supervisor of elections. And in that short time, we have conducted 5 municipal elections. That was Maitland, Winter Park, Ocoee, Windermere, and Belle Isle. We have ensured our cybersecurity procedures meet the highest security standards with a number of evaluations. We completed a comprehensive post-election Federal Election Administration and Voting Survey, or EVES. That was a huge report. We cleared a significant public records backlog, giving voters and media access to information they're entitled to. We completed an independent audit of our financial procedures and situation. And yes, we secured the return of millions of dollars in this year. On my appointed predecessor's spending, but it is important to understand why recovering those funds is so important to our office. So over the last several weeks, we recovered over $3.3 million, which is about 15% of our annual budget. And to put that into perspective, we spend nearly $1 million just to pay for more than 2,000 poll workers and hundreds of off-duty sheriff deputies during a general election. Another $1 million goes toward election and security software so that we can make sure the votes are cast and counted correctly. We have another $1 million that covers the cost of printing ballots and fulfilling other statutory communication requirements like mailing voter information cards, which can cost up to $500,000 for a countywide mailing. So without those funds, we simply cannot run our elections. So I want to thank our partners at the Valencia College Foundation, the Central Florida Foundation, Career Source Central Florida, and the Orlando Regional Realtors Association for their willingness to return those critical dollars. I mentioned the $1 million that we spend to pay over 2,000 poll workers. That includes the funds for our Adopt a Precinct, a program pioneered by my elected predecessor, Bill Cowles. And I know Bill is not in the room today, but I'd like us to all recognize and give him a round of applause. The Adopt a Precinct was Bill's brainchild. So it's been a tremendous success. It's an ongoing, we have an ongoing effort to recruit poll workers for all of our elections. And so he launched the Adopt a Precinct program in an effort to give community groups an opportunity to engage and participate and earn money for their organization at the same time. And last year, this league staffed 23 precincts through the Adopt a Precinct program. Organization in Orange County with over 100 volunteers. And if you took part in the Adopt a Precinct, delivered food to poll workers, or helped voters at a polling place on election day, would you please stand? Thank you. And I saw that there were a number of people who did not stand. So that means that we have room to grow. While we all know how important local elections are, we must also we have to be aware of what's going on in Tallahassee and in DC. And I can tell you that there are some federal budget cuts, particularly to the Homeland Security Department of Homeland Security, and their cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency. It simply is shifting the burden and the cost of the cybersecurity, the funds and the intelligence gathering to the local level. So while it looks like they're cutting the funds, they're just shifting the burden because we still have to maintain those resources. And when you look at Tallahassee, having been there before, I just kind of wait till the last day to see what happened, and then kind of dig through the mess. But there are issues, there are bills that concern petition gathering, citizen initiatives, voter registration forms, and changes to how elections are audited, and they will all directly affect our supervisor's office. So once we know what the collateral damage is, we will let you all know. But I'm not a policymaker. I've been there, done that. And supervisors, our job is really to implement the law and not write it, not interpret it. But when it comes to advocacy, that's what you all do so well. You all excel in that. I know I've talked to some of you, you said you've already been up to Tallahassee and advocated on some of the important issues. Nearly 20 years ago, the National League launched the vote411.org, a one-stop shop for nonpartisan voting resources. I know I've used it, looking up information. It helps voters find their polling place, look up what's on their ballot, and learn where candidates stand on the issues. I know I had to fill out a lengthy survey. I know Sunshine did. I know Dan did too, because I looked at their answers in preparation for debate. So in 2019, the league launched the People Power Fair Maps campaign. It's a 50-state coordinated effort to advocate for fair and transparent redistricting and eliminate partisan gerrymandering nationwide. And as local league members, you've played an important role in those national efforts. But your biggest impact certainly is right here in Orange County through hot topics, candidate forums, committee work, engagement efforts, and voter information drives. And you may see a picture up there of a hot topic there that I participated in. And you'll see Vic Shaneen, who is the moderator, and we have brought him back on as the general counsel for the supervisor's office. And you'll see Dan Helm is also up there. He is now working for the office, and I put him in charge of candidate qualifying, because that seemed to be a particular interest of his during the election. And he's also supporting our office's role in redistricting. So thank you, Dan. So partnering with the Supervisor of Elections Office and Orange County Public Schools and other organizations, our league has conducted more than 75 in-person events in 2024 to register voters, provide election information, and get out the vote. In the last few days alone, the Voter Services Committee and our office visited Lake Nona and Jones High Schools, and we're going to Edgewater High School next to register and pre-register young people, getting the next generation of voters off to a strong start on their civic journey. And if I can make a personal ask, in a few weeks, our high school seniors in OCPS will be walking across the graduation stage. And before that, they'll be turning in their laptops and picking up their caps and gowns in something called senior checkout. And last year, the SOE office and the league and OCPS, we partnered to register about 900 students during that time. Students who had not been registered before they graduated. That was an amazing outcome, and we're doing it again, but it relies on so many volunteers in a short amount of time. So it's not as intensive as election day poll worker, but it is so rewarding when you get to talk to those seniors and show them how to fill out that form and answer questions and give them some more information. But Betty Sawpaw is heading that up. She's not here today, so look her up, contact her, let her know that you're willing to go out to one of those high schools. I don't know how many they're looking for, but last year we did 14 and we're hoping to do 20, but that's going to mean a lot of volunteers, so please help us out with that. And we appreciate everything that Voter Services does and every committee that we have. And speaking of elections, this year we will have an Orlando City Commission election for districts 1, 3, and 5 in November. And we learned just yesterday that the governor did call for the special election for Senate District 15. The special primary is June 24th. It is so soon. They don't give us much time to figure all that out. So our office has really kicked into gear and looked at everything that we have to do to get ready. And one of the biggest things we have to do is recruit poll workers. And sent out, we have a special general on September 2nd, and it's the day after Labor Day. So my office will not be taking that day off. So help us out, help it go smoothly by volunteering. This is the Senate seat formerly held by our dear friend and mentor, Senator Geraldine Thompson. She was not only a legend in Central Florida politics and civil rights advocacy, she was a trailblazer in the world of elections. I know that we both fought to get a site at the Eatonville Library. 10 years ago, we both rewrote the law, directed by Bill Cowles. He's like, you gotta change the law. And so I was able to celebrate during the primary and the general and vote at the Eatonville early voting site. Beyond early voting, Senator Thompson played a key role in what's known as vote by mail. And in 2015, she led the charge to change the term absentee ballot to vote by mail. And because of that, we had nearly 300,000 Orange County voters in the last presidential election prefer to vote by mail. But as you know, because you all are so informed, we have to renew your vote by mail. And as of now, I think we have 13,000 people in Orange County who have signed up. So you can still see we have a long way to go. There are vote by mail enrollment forms on your table. You can also go to our website, and you can also help sign up your family members. I know that we have, I want to introduce some of the people from my office who are here. We have a table in the back there. I want to introduce, we have Lucy Melendez. Would you stand up? She is our elections chief. She does a Radhika Singh, who is our Chief Administrative Officer. Mr. Knight is our Elections Manager. Andy Ayala is the Chief of Staff. And Monica, our Chief Communications, and Mary Ann Hutchison, who does our project administration. So thank you for defending democracy. We couldn't do it without you. This is quite the team back there. And then looking ahead to some of the promises I committed to, we are looking at opening a satellite location in the West Oaks Mall with the tax collector's office, and then we're looking at one at Lake Nona, partnering with the city of Orlando, and they're building a new community government center. So we look to co-locate in those offices where people are already coming in, and we can interact with them and be more out in the community. So I'm excited about that, and I'll wrap up my remarks. She said stop. I just want to share one more thing that I've learned in my first 100 days, and that is that we just can't do all this work alone. We have about 59 people in my office. We can't work all those polls. We can't count all those ballots by ourselves. So it does take a strong community partner like the League to ensure every voter's voice is heard and to bring democracy to life. So on behalf of the entire team at the supervisor's office, I truly appreciate your partnership, and I look forward to working together with you every step of the way.
Charlie is there. At this time, we're going to open the floor to League members to ask questions. Gina Hall is at the mic to my left for your questions. If you do need a mic brought to you, please raise your hand. This is for League members only. Line up to ask a question. And if you're done to ask a question and you are a League member, we'll just let you know that you can purchase your membership on the website, and you will not have this frustration in the future. So please take your name and ask one question, no speeches.
Charlie Williams, League member. Karen, thank you for your service. So glad to see you in this position. I know you showed a slide on the vote by mail numbers for Orange. And I'm curious to know, a lot of these experiments start in Florida and are expanded throughout the country. So are we the only state, or as you talk to your counterparts, where they've got this 2-year, 2-election cycle limit on vote by mail requests? Have you heard whether this is going viral, or are we unique?
I really don't know what other states do. We focus on what other counties do here, and I know that as a state organization, all of the supervisors are all fighting for the return of a little checkbox on your outside of the envelope where it says, I want to remain on the vote by mail list. There is legislation for that. And it's a nonpartisan push to have that returned because it really is inconvenient. And I know in the last special election, that was congressional, those 2 seats, they didn't have a lot of runway to get their vote by mail people re-enrolled. So it is a bipartisan effort. So I would just say make sure you contact people in the legislature. So we're hoping for that. But as far as other ways to restrict voting, there's no end to the ideas that people have to put in guardrails that aren't necessary.
One quick follow-up, is that legislation this year that could change this?
Yes.
What do we reference when we...
You tell them I sent you. I don't know the bill number, maybe Lucy does, but I can't keep track. There are so many elections-related bills. I'm busy trying to get money back into the office, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Cheryl, and I'm a League member. And during this last election, I was very active in helping the people in my life register to vote, be able to vote, and the vast majority of those people are college students. You mentioned the first time you voted, you were in college, and I've heard stories of other women who the first time they voted was in college, and then it got turned away, and their mom had to get involved to get them to be able to vote. And one thing that I did experience I never thought about until I actually got involved was how college students really don't know whether or not they can vote, where they can vote, how they can vote. Is there any, I haven't checked out the website for you guys, but is there any push or any kind of program to really educate every college student on what your rights are as far as being able to vote when you're at college and you're not in college in your hometown, and how you can vote?
That is a great question, and I have 2 college-age kids myself, and I still, you would think they'd grow up in this environment, that they would know more and do more, but not necessarily. I know that we do have a League UCF chapter, and that really does help educate. There is an active democracy project in Rollins College, and they're working. I have found, and I don't want anyone to be offended, because I put myself in this group too, but college students don't want to talk to people of our age. It does help to have younger people involved. So I've thought about how do we engage younger people, and I know and what information do they need, and voting has become so complex. We are still trying to figure that out, and then also how to expand our outreach from our office. We're participating in a high school program at Ocoee High School, coming up with trying to figure out, it's through junior achievement, but we're trying to figure out what do students know about the process, what do they need to know, and what do they know about voting in general, and we hope to learn from them, they're high school seniors, how do we target them and what formats of communication do we use? I mean, influencers, and there's so many. So we're trying to learn from them through that project, but it's difficult. And you did mention, as a mom, that's another thing I learned about on the campaign trail, was there are people in a family, like the voting coordinator, it's usually a mom or a grandma, and they kind of make sure that people are enrolled. So you can request the vote by mail re-enrollment or enrollment for anyone in your immediate family. You can go online and do that. That's how I got my kids theirs. So you're allowed to do that for your child, your grandchild, your parent, a grandparent, your siblings. You need to let them know you're doing that, but you need like their last 4 digits of their Social Security and their birthday, but you're allowed to legally request that. So that's one way to help engage them if we all have an appointed voting coordinator in your family. And I did talk to a grandma who said that she makes sure that when her grandkids vote, if they're at college, they take a picture and text it to her to prove it. And other ones who are at home, they all come over with their ballots and they all vote together and they answer questions, and she doesn't care who they vote for, just as long as they vote. And once they do that, that is their ticket to Thanksgiving dinner.
Anybody else? If I may, Voter Services has just created a handout for college students that talks about how you can register and how you approach if you live in a different either part of the country or a different part of Florida. So we will look to perhaps get that posted on the Voter Services page as a handout. And so if people want to know that if they have friends and family that are college students, that will give them some guidance and direction on how to do that. And also in terms of relevant legislation, we'll try to get some of that information so you know specifically what bills to be tracking.
That's great. And then our communications chief is here as well, so we're happy to, we're updating our website, but we can add that information too. Perfect. We'll make sure that we get that. Oh, one more question, Margie.
I'm Margie Varney, and I voted for McGovern. This is an observation, and it may be a question. I've done poll working several times. The 14-hour day is too much for me. And I wondered if the league would consider, I think we divided the days in the past. I don't know if it's something you all can do or the league would do it, but I would gladly work a half day. So I'm just going to put that out.
Thank you. It does require a big logistical shift in what we do in the office, and we have discussed it, but I will take it back to my team again. I understand it's a big ask for people to work a 14-hour day. Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Gina. And thank you to our Supervisor of Elections, Karen Castor Dentel, and also the staff at the SOE office. We are so glad to have you here and appreciate all of your time during this busy season, although I don't know, do you have a slow season? Oh, no. So anyway, can we thank our SOE one more time? As I mentioned, next month we will be returning to our regularly scheduled but always sizzling Hot Topics program with the unkindest cuts, the cost of government downsizing. That will be May 14th here at the Winter Park Event Center. As we transition to the business of our annual meeting, a word to our guests. You are welcome to stay and observe, although we do ask you not to vote in any of our votes that will be upcoming. We also invite you to consider becoming a member and get involved in our vibrant league. If you must go on your way, please do so with our blessing, and thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you at another program soon. With that